Hello and a very warm welcome to the Supplier Spotlight Podcast. My name is Liam Ball. I'm your magical wedding host, also known as the Gentleman Magician. And as many of you will know, this podcast exists to shine a light on the very best people in the wedding industry, the kind of suppliers who bring calm, quality and professionalism to one of the most important days of your life. Now, just before we get into it, if you're really enjoying these conversations, and I know many of you are, please do follow, subscribe, and share this podcast, especially with people who you know are currently planning a wedding. It genuinely helps couples to find the right people, and it helps the podcast reach the people who really need it the most. Now, today's guest is a wedding photographer, somebody who is responsible for capturing not just how a wedding looks, but how it feels, from quiet, emotional moments through to the joy, the energy, and the atmosphere of the whole day. Now, this particular photographer is known for natural, people-focused imagery and a calm, reassuring presence behind the camera. She is a widely respected photographer across Essex and the Southeast, and was also named the Photographer of the Year at the Essex Wedding Awards in 2024, which speaks volumes in a really competitive field. So it gives me huge pleasure to welcome Laura of Laura Lea Photography to the podcast. Hello, Laura. How are you?
Wow, what an introduction. Thank you.
Indeed. Oh, you are very welcome, and it's absolutely all deserved. How's life treating you?
Yeah, it's good. I'm starting the new year with Facing a Fear. This is my first podcast, the first time I've ever done anything like this.
Well, congratulations. I mean, you're doing fabulously, absolutely wonderfully. And I mean, honestly, your work speaks for itself. So I think this is going to be an absolute breeze. So on that note, let's get into it. At what point in your life did you, number one, get into photography, and then after that say, I want to do weddings?
So it's actually a really random story, and it all starts with a raffle ticket.
Oh, wow. Okay. That is random. Okay.
No. So basically, when I was about 14, I think, or maybe even younger than that, my dad entered this raffle at his local church, and he won a family photo shoot.
Okay.
So we went along and we had this photo shoot, and I'd never experienced, any kind of photography really before this point. So for me to see a photography studio, I was just amazed by, all the lighting and the equipment. And so we had the session, and then we went back about a week later for like a viewing of the photos. And it was back in the day where it was really like the cool thing to do was to turn an image black and white, and then you bring back the color in like just one random thing.
A little bit like the girl in the red coat in Schindler's List.
Yeah.
Why does that stick with me? I don't know. That's weird. Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
But yeah, and I was just mind blown by that. I was just like, oh my God, I need to learn how to do this. So at school we had work experience, I think in year 10 or something. So I thought, right, as soon as I get into year 10, I know what I'm doing. I want to learn to do that.
Yeah.
So I was really lucky and got into that studio and did work experience there.
Mhm.
I then worked there as sort of a Saturday job during college.
Yeah.
And then after college, I went and worked there for a little while, actually running a franchise myself at the age of 18. Obviously not owning the franchise, but
Yeah.
running it basically on my own.
So the day-to-day operations.
Yeah, so I was trying to promote the studio. I was taking photos in the studio, editing, doing viewing sessions with clients, and really thrown in the deep end.
Wow. So that sounds like you were running a business without the benefits of running a business.
Exactly. So yeah, I didn't last very long at it. It was quite a lot of pressure at that age.
Yeah.
What it showed me was that actually I can do this.
Mhm.
And that's when I decided to go freelance,
Yeah.
and I haven't looked back since.
Okay. That's so essentially, started in school, got to a studio, do a studio work, and then thought, you know what? I can do better for this if I do it on my own. So was weddings always the goal, or did that come later on?
That sort of came later on, really. I think to start with, I sort of started with what I knew, which was studio. So photographing family and pets and things like that.
Yeah.
And it sort of slowly progressed to, you network with other photographers and then they ask, oh, can you come and help me do this wedding with me? Or, so I sort of slowly got exposed to that. And yeah, then became like a second shooter for a photographer. And it just kind of snowballed from there really to now full-time wedding photographer.
Full-time self-employed professional. Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So what was that experience for you like the first time? I mean, what was it? Was it you putting yourself out there and saying, hey, I can come and do your wedding? Or was it somebody going, hey, I mean, you're a photographer and you do weddings and stuff. Can you come and do ours? How did that work out?
Yeah, I feel like there comes to a point as a photographer where you start to naturally get asked to sort of do these things and you not necessarily advertising for them yet and you get asked. And I think actually saying yes to these things is what pushes you outside of your comfort zone. Because I never would have advertised to do my first wedding. I was, terrified, didn't believe in myself. But for someone else to believe in you and to ask you, kind of meant the world. And obviously, you explain to them, well, I'm not a wedding photographer, and this and that, and all it takes is for someone to have some trust in you.
Mm.
And yeah, it kind of started from there. Did my first few weddings. I said, oh, well, I'll do it for free because, I'm not a wedding photographer, but if you want me to, I will. And then getting good reactions from there and just kind of, yeah, slowly building up and working with other wedding photographers and learning from them. Yeah,
That's
it
right.
just,
I think actually, and you touched on a really important point there because I'm very much an advocate for if you're going to get somebody in to do a professional job, you absolutely must pay a professional fee. And if you're not paying a professional fee, there's a reason for it. But I'm also massively a huge advocate for people saying, I'm just starting out in this field, in this industry, in this thing, and I'd love to come along and do this for you. And I think there's very much an expectation, isn't there, that you can go and do that, and that's great. But also, it might not be perfect, and that sort of has to be okay because you're not really paying me. But yeah, it's a great way to gain a lot of experience, I think, very quickly. And I mean, obviously, that's worked out really well for you because by the looks of things, you've gone sort of to leaps and bounds in that regard. So how long have you been doing weddings now?
I'd say kind of full time since after COVID time when the world kind of opened back up again. So probably 21 sort of properly.
Fantastic. Okay, so sort of five to 6 years of ongoing experience under your belt doing it for you, and obviously lots of experience prior to that, sort of second shooting and photographers in general. So with that in mind, how would you describe your style as a photographer, especially to people that don't speak photograph?
Okay. Yeah, so I always say to people, obviously you need to like the overall look of the photos. Different photographers have completely different styles. So for me, I'm quite warm and bright. I think wedding days are such uplifting events that I want that to show in my work.
Hmm.
But obviously it's not just about how the photos look, it's a lot to do with the personality of your photographer as well, because we're the kind of suppliers that are actually with you all day.
Yeah.
For example, I don't know, a florist or something, they do their work, they deliver the flowers and then they go. But actually, your photographer is there all day. We're communicating with your friends and family, and we're kind of setting the tone for your day. So I think that's just as important as, the visual side of it as well.
Yeah. I think you're right. A photographer, especially a wedding photographer, it's got to be somebody that you really get on with and gel with, hasn't it? And also somebody that you can put your confidence in. And when they say, right, just stand like this for me, and I often think some people do it and they kind of think, I feel like an idiot because I've got my head like this and I'm sort of doing this. But then the photo's taken and it looks brilliant because of course you're a pro and you very much know what you're doing in that regard. What's probably one of the funniest requests that you've had as a wedding photographer on a wedding day?
Funniest requests. Well, I did have a couple that they really wanted their cat at their wedding, but obviously they didn't. Um, so I just jokingly kind of said, "Oh, you should get a cardboard cutout," and they actually did. They got cardboard cutouts, like these little face masks of their cat, and they then requested that we did a little photo shoot with them, and I was all here for it. We did proper like
It's a
couple
great idea.
with these cat things, so that was
Yeah.
brilliant.
I love that. I really love that. You know, it's funny. As a magician, I often find that some of the best parts of the routines that I do come because of a thing that happened in the moment that nobody expected. And I have to go, I'm going to remember that. The next time round,
Yeah.
I'm going to do it on purpose. And that very much, I think, sounds like one of that. So what do you think it is that couples value most from the photographer, especially on the day itself when you're working with people?
Well, I think it's how you make them feel. And I don't know, I think there's quite a misconception with photos. Like, I think people think it either has to be natural and candid or it's posed, and there's just no kind of in between. And that's where I hope that I'm kind of a real good mix, because yeah, I love doing the candid stuff, and I probably do that for about 75% of the day.
Yeah.
But in order to kind of get these nice photos, they don't just happen naturally. I wish they did, but they don't. But it doesn't have to mean that they are posed. So, for example, this one with the, you know, the sunset, I had obviously set them up with the sunset in the background.
Of course.
But then within this, I haven't just got them to kind of stand there posed and feeling really awkward. And that's the thing that I think people worry about the most, is standing there feeling awkward.
Mm.
But I've just given them some prompts, and they've never done this in their life before. You know, I told him to pick her up and swing her around. And again, people are worried. They're like, oh my God, we've never done this. We're not going to look good. But it's just creating this candid moment,
Mm.
which, so then it isn't a posed photo, it is candid, and their laughs are genuine because they've never done this before. It feels really weird, but it's just hilarious. So,
It's a thing that happened on purpose with the moment caught during that thing happening, I guess, yeah?
yeah.
I suppose it's like that one over there to your right. Is that a champagne bottle he's spraying?
Oh, yeah, this side.
Yeah.
I feel like a weather girl with the greens behind me, and I'm kind of pick. This one, yeah. So
Yeah.
just kind of creating some fun moments. If people are up for it, then I love doing stuff like this.
Well, it's not like you can have him do that 30 times in a row, though, is it?
Yeah. But again, this is where obviously I've set it up, but then it's created so many candid moments within this moment, and it's a perfect mix of candid but also looks extra special.
Yeah, I get you. I was out, and I forget where I was now. I think it was at some point last year with a photographer, and I think since then I've had it in my head that almost all photographers do this, where he was kind of sat down at the end of the meal, everybody was sort of chilling out and relaxing, there was no photos to be taken, and he got his laptop open, he was going through his memory card, and he said, already today I've taken 12,000 pictures. He said, and I'm just going through those and I'm just culling up. I've got like 15 different versions of every shot.
Yeah.
I'm picking the best one of every one of them. He said, and the rest of them are just going, and it was super quick. And it kind of made me think, gosh, because I mean, in my dad used to be into photography when I was a kid, and that was back in the 1980s. And I remember him having a dark room under the stairs with a blanket. And I think part of my brain still feels like that's what photographers do, of course, but of course for the most part that isn't at all the case. And I mean, I suppose that the editing then mostly must be sort of culling all of the extra photos that you don't need, and then what is it, sort of gentle edits in terms of what color corrections and such on photos.
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole process in itself. So, I mean, first of all, straight after the wedding,
Yeah.
obviously you're backing up the photos and everything. And then the next day, I'm putting together some sneak peeks for my couple so that they can see a mixture of photos from the day,
Yeah.
the very next day. So straight away, I'm on it, just trying to pick out the best ones from these, could be 4,000 or 5,000 photos for a whole day. So you're just trying to find some of the best ones straight away to kind of edit those and get them sent out. But yeah, then the real work starts when you're actually editing the full gallery. Because yeah, in all the key moments, in order to not miss anything, you are kind of click, 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 make sure your eyes are open, you know, so things like that. So photos stack up quite quickly, but obviously yeah, we don't want to send couples 10 of the same moment. So you are going through and just picking out maybe, one or two in those kind of moments. That just takes time just to go through and narrow it down.
I bet it does. I bet it does. So there you are. Then you're on the wedding day. You're obviously you're getting the couples to sort of go and do what they do, and you're saying, "Hey, let's go over here. This will be cool." And there must, of course, be a lot of experience there. You go to a venue, you've never been there before. You must have that instinct to look around and go, "That's going to be beautiful later. That'll be a fabulous shot. That'll be a great backdrop. Later on, the sun's going to be here, and it's going to be this." I mean, how do you manage all of that and still make all the couples feel really comfortable, especially when they swear? They're super awkward in a camera shot.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is kind of going with the flow on the day. And I think another sort of misconception is that you need to have worked at the venue beforehand to know all the best spots. And while it's really handy if you have shot at a venue before, so you sort of know your go-to areas, venues can look so different depending on the time of year, the weather. So I really like to just go with the flow on the day and see what looks good kind of at the time. Obviously, you can prepare and see where the sun's going to go, but sometimes the light can just hit things slightly differently at different times. And suddenly a spot that didn't look good earlier suddenly looks incredible. So I think, yeah, going with the flow. And again, I think that helps with couples as well, because it's not like this pre-planned strict photo shoot. We're going to go here, then we're going to go here. It's just, let's go for a walk and see kind of what inspires us. Let's have some fun on the way.
I get you. Fabulous. So what are your, I'm going to say, go-to lifesaver shots on a wedding day? What are your favorite moments to capture?
Oh, I mean, you just can't go wrong with a sunset. So I think golden hour is just the best time to photograph. So just everything looks lovely in golden hour. You can't go wrong. But I mean, even if there isn't a golden hour, I mean, this was taken on quite a cloudy, overcast day, but you can still get some lovely photos. But yeah, I just love these kind of natural walk-in hand-in-hand shots. I think, it's something you, as a couple, if you feel awkward, this is kind of my go-to thing, because you're moving constantly. So you can't feel kind of stiff and awkward because you're just walking and having a little with each other.
I suppose as well, you're kind of in the scenario where somebody says, "Oh, we're really awkward," and you might say, "All right, well, let's go for a gentle walk," and then you can kind of start breaking down those barriers. And of course, that's where the connection comes in, right?
But also, I mean, I feel like everyone tries to deny that it's not awkward, but actually it is awkward. Like, no one likes having a camera in their face. I hate it. It is awkward, and you're never going to feel 100% comfortable in front of the camera, but we're kind of in it together and we just have fun with it. I mean, in this photo, I don't think you can see this one here, under the veil. Oh, there we go. I mean, it looks kind of romantic and nice, but in reality, I'm under the veil with them. I'm right in their face. And it is awkward, but we just have a laugh with it. Like, at what other day of the year would you find yourself in this situation? Like, it's so random. And we just end up having such a laugh with it that, yeah.
Three's a crowd, but we're just going to pretend there's two of you. Absolutely wonderful. So, I mean, obviously, some great work that you've done, and I mean, some fantastic sort of shots there in the background. For those who are listening to the audio podcast, you should definitely go and check out the YouTube version of this. The photos in the background are absolutely wonderful. And I mean, I think that kind of speaks for itself. So you were Photographer of the Year at the Essex Wedding Awards 2024. So what did it? I mean, I've been through sort of various wedding award processes myself, and it's always such a joy to get there. What did the nomination and then of course going through to the winning of that? How did that kind of make you feel and impact you, and how was that whole process for you?
Well, literally winning the award was one of the best moments of my life, which may sound really cringy, but for somebody who's self-employed and has been for pretty much my whole life, you don't have anyone else to kind of tell you you've done a good job, and a lot of the things that I sort of go in above and beyond for couples, a lot of it goes unnoticed. You're you're there at midnight editing out fire exit signs because you want the photo to be the best it can be, and things like that, or just reordering photos in the gallery so that they really kind of tell the story properly and they're not jumbled. And it's things that kind of people don't necessarily notice you do, but you put in the effort. So to actually get some kind of recognition was just amazing, and it just kind of took me back to the little girl who had the photo shoot done back in 2000, and God, I don't even know. It just took me right back to there and thinking, what would she have thought of this moment? So
Yeah, I mean, I think as well that there's a huge, maybe I was going to say misconception, but maybe just a lack of knowledge in terms of people see Wedding Essex Awards and they think, gosh, well, your photos therefore must be fantastic, which of course they are. But I think that people in the industry also know that winning an award like that means so much more than you've got great photos. It also means that your business runs well, that your ethics are good, that people liked you, because of course they're voted for, aren't they, by the couples that you worked with. So you've got to have done a good job in order for people to say, yes, I want to put my mark next to Laura's name.
yeah, it feels lovely. I mean, yeah, there's all different awards that are sort of voted differently. So some are voted by sort of panels of judges,
Yeah.
which again means the world because it's people that are experts in those fields. And for little old self-employed me, to be judged by these sort of industry experts and for them to choose me, just feels incredible.
It really is wonderful. So what did that recognition change for you in business? I mean, did anything change, or was it just the next day, kind of wipe off the mascara and go straight back to work as usual?
Um, I don't know. I think it sort of did give me a bit more confidence in myself. I think all of us photographers get imposter syndrome all the time. And even after winning the award, I still feel it. But actually, I think that really helped with that. And I thought, actually, no, like I am good at this. Um, yeah, I've got it here. Every time I look
Look
at
at
it,
that, look. Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. That's exactly the kind of, yes, you keep it on your desk so that you can see it. That's exactly spot on.
I have it out just as a little reminder of that day and all the hard work that went into this moment. It wasn't just a year that I'd, entered this award. It was a whole 15, 20 years that came before it that kind of led to this moment, I guess.
I think that's the thing. I think that people they'll ask you how much is this, and you tell them, and they go, really, for a few hours of taking photographs. So I get it, to host, and it's this, and they go, really, but yes, but I've got 20 years of experience, and I'll be doing this and this and this and this and everything afterwards. So yeah, I think it does speak volumes, and it's great to see people getting rewarded like that. So let's go a little bit more general then. So. Um, let's assume that there's somebody listening to this podcast right now thinking, fabulous, I understand a bit more now about what it is to be a photographer on a wedding day, about what importance a photographer has. What are the best, say, 3 pieces of advice that you would give to anybody who is starting their search for finding a wedding photographer, with the exception of go book Laura right now?
Um, well, so I think personality is a big one because no matter if someone takes the most stunning photos, if they make you feel awkward or uncomfortable, or they're a little bit too pushy on your wedding day, or
Yeah.
rude to your guests, that's going to have the biggest impact, and you won't look back on those photos with happy memories. So, personality is a big one.
Yeah.
Um, number 2, you have to like their style of work, and
Mhm.
it's sort of all well and good seeing one photo that maybe looks really dramatic and moody or something like that, but you have to think, would I like that style for my whole gallery? Do I want my ceremony to look kind of dark and moody? Do I want this to look dark and moody, or the same light and airy? Do I want that to look that way? So, um, we've all got very different styles. So, just looking at photos that you could kind of picture having on your wall, the sort of tones, are they warm? Are they cool? but it's all personal preference really. So you can't go wrong with that. You just have to like their work.
Yeah.
3, I would probably look for sort of consistency in their style.
Mm.
So making sure that not only have they got just a few kind of wow photos, that actually you've seen moments from different parts of the day and you like kind of all of them and how they've handled tricky lighting situations. Because I think anyone can take a really nice photo in kind of nice daylight, everything looks great. But when you come to some more challenging lighting scenarios, dark churches or, nighttime shoots, that's where you kind of need that experience and it really shows. So, yeah, just looking for consistency in their work, I think.
Yeah, that's I think that I'm not by any stretch of the imagination a photographer, and I've recently bought a camera because I've decided I want some photographs that look better than photos I've taken on my phone. Right? But a friend of mine is a fabulously wonderful photographer. But I often think that there's probably 2 people that you're likely to meet at weddings as a photographer, right? Number 1, the person who knows nothing about photography, and then the other person who's got the most expensive camera in the world and thinks they know everything about photography, but actually, well, that's right, yeah. But actually, what they are is like a I don't know. They don't work in the photography industry at all, and I think it's a really big, really interesting thing because I mean, obviously, a camera is such a complex piece of machinery now, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, gone are the days when you could, I don't know, change the 1 or 2 settings on a camera and that was it, and then you take the photo and you're relying on the light and the film and the darkroom editing and what have you. Now, of course, there's so many settings that you can plug into a camera. So yeah, and of course having the knowledge of which of those to use, because a little bit of knowledge is a dangerous thing, and that's very true. So what would you say are the most common mistakes that people make when they're looking to choose a photographer?
Oh, what? So for couples,
Mm,
booking photographers, I would say kind of just going off of price.
yeah.
I think it's very easy to look at 2 photographers and think, oh, yep, they include all the images. Yep, they both do an album. They both do this. Oh, but one's this price, one's that price.
Yeah.
I kind of think it's equal, but there's so many variables in what photographers offer that the price doesn't always kind of show it. Because some photographers may only stay till the first dance or something, whereas I stay extended into the evening. Some people might offer an album, but it could be a cheap album, whereas, like my albums cost me hundreds of pounds just to even get them made. So there could be a difference there. Um, there could be a difference in the amount of photos they supply or even in sort of their experience and, in their styles and in their work. So they might have a lot more expensive equipment and things like that. So there's so many more variables than just price. So just trying to kind of dig a little bit deeper and see actually where the difference is.
I think so many people look at price as simply an indicator of cost, when in actual fact, most of the time, price is an indicator of quality and value. And if you're looking at 2 suppliers in any industry, and one of them is £1,000 more expensive or less expensive than the other, there's probably a really good reason for it, even if on paper they all look the same. So yeah, and that's probably a really good shout, and I think something that people really should be aware of. So, from your point of view, you've gone to a wedding, you've been booked, you've turned up, you're doing your thing, you're taking your photos. What do you think it is that helps a wedding day to run smoothly and make sure that you're able to do the job that you're booked for?
I think it sounds boring, but I think timings is kind of that's the thing that can instantly make a wedding day feel stressful.
Yeah.
So I just think, and it starts from the morning. I think as soon as the morning is running late, it just kind of adds stress then to the rest of the day. And if you kind of miss certain photo sessions, then you feel like you're constantly having to catch up. And so I just think, getting into your dress early so that you have got time for photos or you've got time for like last minute things to happen,
Yeah.
and things like that. And because then you're not trying to rush, you can actually enjoy the moment. I hate it when brides or, whoever is kind of stressed before they're about to walk down the aisle. You want to feel kind of relaxed and in the moment. So timings is just key for that, and
Absolutely.
that carries on sort of later on. In the drinks reception, the drinks reception's always really tight for timings because so much has to happen within that time that I think if you stick to timings, you've then got 20 minutes to enjoy just mingling with your guests and enjoying it, and then we've got 20 minutes for the group photos. But it's when things kind of overrun, or you end up doing group photos for way longer than anyone wanted to, that's when the fun sort of starts to dissipate, and you don't want that to happen, and you don't want to feel photoed out at those moments. You want to save your kind of photo energy for all these really fun photos. So yeah, I just think timings, and that's where I kind of work with couples before the day to kind of ensure that those measures are kind of in place so that we avoid that ever happening on a wedding day.
Fantastic. Timing is probably one of the most important parts to think about running a wedding day. So let's have a little bit more fun. It's a day of a wedding. What's your get ready and go routine?
Oh my God. There's so much to it. So, well, obviously, I would have had meetings with the couples beforehand anyway. The night before, I'm just literally double checking through all the timings, all the group shots and things like that. I'm charging all of my kit, getting it all ready, SD's card all sorted in the cameras. So morning of, obviously get up, have my breakfast, head out the door, and straight away in the morning, that's where I'm sort of going around the venue and I'm doing all these kind of detail shots, photos of things and all the little girly details, the bouquet, shoes, any sort of venue decor. Basically, any details I can get done in the morning is great because it then saves me time later on.
Yeah.
And then doing sort of often getting ready with the bride or the other person. Mm-hmm. And often, with getting ready, I feel like people always get nervous about this, but it's not as daunting as it sounds. No one wants to be photographed first thing in the morning without any makeup on. I'm not going to do that to you. It is
a lot having that.
Good. It's the glamorous finishing touches, just the flusher being put on. And, I think I've got, hold on, what way do I go? This way, I'm pointing the wrong way. There we go. The glamorous, the lip gloss and things like that. That's what we kind of want to get. So it's doing that. And then often I'll head across to the groom or the other person who's getting ready to do some photos of them so they don't feel left out. Mm-hmm. Then we're obviously on to the ceremony. So I'm just in the background capturing that. Straight on to often confetti and group shot. And then that's where I kind of like to let my couples just decompress, take it all in, have some drinks, mingle with your friends and family. And that's kind of prime time for me getting those really nice candid photos that everyone really likes.
Perfect.
Then we go on to, portraits and group photos. Then we go into the wedding breakfast and speeches. And really after that, that's the first time that I usually get to sit down. Sometimes it's the first time I've had a drink since I've left the house.
Gosh.
First time I've been able to go for a wee. Because it's just so intense up until that point. So
much going on, yeah.
And I think people think that photographers get it quite easy, we turn up, we take some photos, and then we sit down and have this 3-course meal, and it's just not like that, By the time I sit down, if I'm lucky enough to get a meal, I literally am inhaling it by that point. I'm so exhausted and
ravenously hungry.
Yeah. And that's kind of my time to then just kind of reset, and then often it's cake cut first dance after that. So I'm then getting my lighting sorted for that bit, maybe planning some outdoor nighttime shots. So I'm planning all the kind of lighting for that. So yeah, it really is kind of non-stop. And like I said, I don't finish at the first dance. I then stay into the evening. So often it can be sort of 9-10 o'clock by the time I'm leaving. I then got to get home, back up all the photos, which can end up being midnight by the time I finish that. And sometimes if you've got back-to-back weddings, you're then up again and do the
Do it all over. Yeah, I know what you mean. So, I mean, realistically, you're almost working longer than anybody else. And yeah, still managing to capture all these fabulous images and make it look as effortless as you do. So fantastic. And one last question, and here's one that might make you go, oh.
Okay.
Photograph trends come and go, right? But what would be one wedding photography trend that if you could, you just ban forever?
Oh, this is a difficult one.
Yeah. And I mean, the answer might be none, right? It's just, what wedding photography trends are out there that you think, oh, we really shouldn't be doing that at weddings?
I feel like I've got to go with the blurry photo trend, I haven't just spent, £10,000 on these super sharp looking cameras to then take a blurry photo. I can't do it. I haven't got it.
I didn't even know is that a thing?
Is a thing, yeah.
I'm kidding. No way. No, yeah, I'm with you on that one. Yeah, ban blurry photos. Fantastic. Wow. Okay. Well, listen, Laura. I think I'm going to let you go. It's been an absolutely fabulous chat. Thank you so much for coming to join me today, and let's catch up again sometime soon.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
No,
First
take care.
podcast complete.
Well done. Absolutely fabulous. Thoroughly enjoyable. Take care.
Bye.
There we go, folks. That has been an absolute pleasure of a chat and a real insight into Laura's work and her approach. Now, if you're planning a wedding and you want photography that feels natural, relaxed, and genuinely reflective of who you both are, both as individuals and a couple, I can wholeheartedly recommend that you go and check out Laura Lea Photography. You can find her online at lauraleaphoto.co.uk and also on Instagram and Facebook, which is at lauralee.photo. Go and have a proper look at her work. You'll absolutely love it. And please do remember, if you're listening along and you can think of anybody who would enjoy this, please do share it with them. Like, follow, subscribe, and do all of those things. It really, really does make a difference. Until the next time, it's been absolutely fabulous being with you again. Remember, choose your suppliers wisely, and I'll see you on the next episode of the Supplier Spotlight Podcast. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.